Quick question. What happens when you drink a triple shot espresso? You get the jitters, right? Maybe a little anxiety? Well, when this guy drinks a coffee, the system literally slows down time and turns him into a speedster god. But here's the problem with relying on chemicals to fight monsters. Eventually, the sugar crash hits. And let me tell you, crashing in the middle of a boss fight isn't just a headache, it's a death sentence. Let's see if he survives the comedown. It always starts the same way, doesn't it? One day, massive red cosmic portals swirl open in the sky and, surprise, a whole army of shadow monsters invades our world. Classic apocalypse stuff. But humanity didn't just roll over. A special group of super beings started popping up called saints, taking on dragons and giants like it's just another Tuesday. The government immediately hits the broadcast airwaves with their suits and ties sweating bullets, telling everyone to lock their doors and claiming they've been preparing for this since the nation was founded. Yeah, sure, totally reassuring. But here's where the power system gets spicy. After the initial invasion, random civilians started waking up with superpowers and lifespans rivaling the monsters themselves. This kicked off an era where basically anyone could become a walking nuke if they had the right spiritual physique. It all comes down to your build, gamers. You've got three main flavors: the heavenly physique, letting you control the powers of heaven and earth; the worldly physique, giving you the avatar package of 5 elements; and the humanly physique, channeling yin and yang. Nice and tidy categories, right? Wrong, because there's always that one guy. While the city is getting absolutely wrecked by a massive wolfbird hybrid, I'm talking crushing cars like soda cans and terrified civilians running for their lives, we cut to a dude standing calmly in the chaos. A system window pops up saying elixir consumed. Sounds fancy until you realize he just lit up a cigarette. But instead of a cough, the system goes crazy. Chemical nicotine detected, central nervous system hyperstimulated, dopamine secretion, adrenaline spike. This absolute madman is literally buffing his stats with a smoke break. He exhales a puff of red vapor, his eyes glowing like brake lights, and casually mutters, "Phew." The monster tries to turn him into a snack, snapping its jaws shut, but our smoker is already airborne. He dodges easily and comes down with a simple wooden sword, delivering a horizontal slash so powerful it detonates with a massive burst of blue energy. Boom! The beast screams in agony. This power isn't heavenly or worldly. The narrator dubs it the irregular physique. It's pure, uncategorized disaster given human form. With the monster lying dead in a pool of its own blood, Han stands on a ledge flicking ash. He starts monologuing, genuinely confused why the high and mighty saints leave these lethal monsters alive while they're too busy acting like rulers. Han reveals his cheat code, the ability to consume chemicals to bring out his full potential. He looks down at the carcass with a cocky grin, basically telling the dead monster, "You're gonna pay if you keep acting cocky, you bastard," before leaping off the skyscraper into the night. Meanwhile, the internet goes nuclear. Social media feeds are flooded with shaky cam footage, people screaming in the comments like, "Who is that saint? He actually saved someone," and "Finally, someone killed that damn bird." Looks like the public just found their new favorite anti-hero. Meet Park Han-il, a 22-year-old warehouse worker who somehow ends a grueling shift looking like he just came back from a spa day while his co-workers look like zombies. They're convinced he's secretly chugging expensive ginseng or some illicit stimulants, but Han-il just waves them off, popping the lid to his secret weapon, a bottle of over-the-counter vitamins. See, Han-il has a very specific and very weird talent. While normal people just get slightly darker urine from supplements, Han-il's body treats a super salinity like a super soldier serum. He figured this out back in the military when a buddy gave him a supplement and his fatigue vanished instantly, while omega-3s basically turned his brain into a supercomputer. So, feeling refreshed and invincible, he's walking home thinking about grabbing a coffee when a cute girl runs up to him. Han-il's heart skips a beat. Is this a movie moment? Is she gonna ask for his number? Nope, she drops the classic cult line, "You have a benevolent face, can we talk about dough?" Han-il's face goes flat instantly. He hates this stuff, mostly because his own father abandoned the family 20 years ago to go live in the woods and eat weird herbs trying to become a saint. Talk about a midlife crisis. Han-il shakes off the cultist and dips into a convenience store to buy a canned coffee, thinking his dad was an idiot for not just trying a Centrum Silver. But as he steps out of the store, the sky decides to open up. A massive glowing blue magic circle dominates the clouds, looking less like a light show and more like an apocalypse. Before Hanyil can even process if they're filming a Marvel movie, the ground shakes, cracks open, and a giant red hand claws its way out of the asphalt. A horned monster climbs out, roaring and scaring the life out of everyone. Hanyil tries to run, his heart pounding out of his chest, but then the system kicks in. Nutrient use, caffeine, and sugar. Suddenly, the world slows down. The monster swings a massive wooden club at him, but to Hanyil, it looks like it's moving through molasses. His senses heighten, his nerves fire off like machine guns, and he effortlessly sidesteps the attack. Realizing the canned coffee just turned him into a speedster, he decides to stop running and start fighting. With glowing red eyes, he delivers a thunderous kick that sends the beast flying through a shop window. Seeing a club flying through the air, he catches it mid-flight, because why not, and smashes another monster's skull in. One hit, one kill. Hanyil gets into a rhythm, tearing through a group of smaller monsters like he's playing a hack-and-slash game on easy mode. He's feeling unstoppable, wondering if he's finally having his main character moment. But then a massive thud echoes through the street. A giant boss monster covered in tribal tattoos and wielding a spiked club the size of a telephone pole blocks his path. Hanyil, running high on adrenaline and sugar, thinks, probably weaker than it looks, and charges straight at it with a battle cry. He winds up for a devastating strike, ready to end this, when he suddenly feels tired. The glow in his eyes fades, his body gets heavy, the system practically disconnects. Hanyil realizes with horror that the caffeine just wore off at the absolute worst possible nanosecond. The last thing we see is the boss swinging that giant spiked club and a brutal splatter of blood as Hanyil learns the hard way that sugar crashes are deadly. So, remember that caffeine crash I mentioned? It hits hard. 1 second, Hanyil's feeling like a god, and the next, he's staring up at a spiked club, realizing his subscription to super speed just expired. Bam! The impact sounds brutal. Meanwhile, inside a nearby store, we've got a classic display of bravery, which is to say, two guys arguing over who has to go close the shutters while the monster is literally outside. You do it. No, it's the employee's job. Classic. Spoiler, neither of them does it in time. Smash! A monster crashes through the glass, cornering a terrified civilian. It looks like it's game over until a blue lighter flicks on in the darkness. That's right, our boy Hanyil isn't out of the fight, he's just reloading. He lights up a cigarette and the system treats it like a high-tier potion. Elixir consumed, nicotine detected, central nervous system hyperstimulated. Red steam starts rising off his body like he's entering second gear, and he exhales a puff of smoke, shouting, "Round 2, let's go." He flies in with a kick to the monster's face, feeling the adrenaline flood back into his veins. He engages the boss monster again, dodging and weaving with renewed, insane speed. Before slamming the beast into the pavement, it creates a crater. "Have a taste of this, you bitch," he yells as he stands over the fallen enemy. But victory's messy. Just as Hanyil catches his breath and takes a second to wonder if his mom is okay, aw, good son, the monster tries a cheap shot from the ground, grabbing him. Hanyil barely manages to rip its grip off and land one final exhausted punch, screaming, "Just die already." He collapses against a wall, totally spent. He literally can't move a finger. And because the universe loves kicking a man while he's down, a fresh wave of monsters pours into the street. Hanyil can only watch, screaming in frustration as civilians are cornered, and he's too drained to help. Just when it looks like a total massacre, the sky opens up again. But this time, it's not a monster. A figure in flowing white robes descends like a literal angel surrounded by floating paper talismans. With a casual wave of her hand, she unleashes a tsunami of blue energy that vaporizes the entire monster horde in a single second. No punches, no sweat, just pure magic nuke. She glides over to Hanyil, looking surprisingly impressed, and notes, "You managed to kill one without any training." Hanyil, barely conscious and probably wondering if he's hallucinating from the nicotine, just looks up and asks the million-dollar question, "Who the hell are you?" If you enjoyed this absolute fever dream of a recap, smash that like button like Hanyil's smashing a monster and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next dose. I'll catch you in the next one.